It is a common human longing to believe that when someone is absent from our lives, their thoughts are filled with our memory, our shared laughter, and the intimate moments we once cherished. We tell ourselves a story of yearning, of an unresolved connection that keeps them tethered to us in their mind, held back only by circumstance, pride, or fear. The popular narrative suggests that his silence is a sign of his internal struggle, a testament to the powerful hold you have on his subconscious, a kind of psychological entanglement that he simply cannot escape. This perspective paints him as a protagonist in an emotional drama, caught between his desire for you and his inability to act, placing you, the one waiting, in a state of suspended anticipation, holding on to the faint hope that one day he will finally return. It's a beautifully painful illusion that many of us cling to, a belief that validates our own feelings of attachment and gives meaning to the quiet ache of his absence. Yet, this romanticized view, while comforting, often misses the profound, deeper truth. What if his silence isn't a testament to your power over him, but rather a reflection of the power he sees within you, a power that he is not yet prepared to confront? What if his persistent thoughts are not about a version of you from the past, but are instead a response to the transformed woman you are becoming? This idea turns the narrative on its head, shifting the focus from his potential weakness to your undeniable strength. It challenges the conventional wisdom that his inaction is a sign of his deep emotional connection, and instead proposes a more intricate psychological dynamic. We must ask ourselves if the story we're telling ourselves is the true one, or merely a projection of our own desires and insecurities. This requires a difficult but necessary leap of faith into a new, more uncomfortable reality. This new reality suggests that the thoughts he has are not nostalgic echoes of what was, but rather a subconscious recognition of the burgeoning force you represent in the present. His mind, in this perspective, is not merely reminiscing. It is wrestling with a future he cannot yet comprehend or engage with. His hesitation isn't about you, the person he knew, but about the very essence of your being as it now stands, a being that is whole, self-sufficient, and perhaps no longer in need of his validation. This is a far more complex and compelling truth than the simple tale of two star-crossed lovers. It forces us to reconsider the nature of his thoughts, and more importantly, to understand our own value independent of his actions. It is a difficult notion to embrace because it dismantles the very foundation of our hope and forces us to look inward. It asks us to consider a world where his silence is not a sign of our lack, but a testament to our abundance. A world where his inability to act is not a rejection of us, but a recognition of a profound truth he cannot yet articulate. This perspective demands a certain level of psychological maturity and a willingness to let go of the familiar, comforting lies we tell ourselves. It is a journey from external validation to internal knowing, a path that few are brave enough to walk, but one that leads to true, lasting peace. The heart of this phenomenon, according to a Jungian perspective, lies not in the conscious mind, but within the deep, symbolic realm of the psyche. It is not about his mundane thoughts of you, but rather about the archetypal presence you have come to represent within his personal mythology. Carl Jung would suggest that he is not just thinking of you as an individual, but rather, he is grappling with the Anima figure, the feminine principle that you embody in his unconscious. You have, in essence, become a powerful symbol of his own unintegrated parts, a reflection of the emotional depth, creativity, and spiritual awareness that he has yet to embrace within himself. His thoughts of you are therefore not a desire to possess you, but an unconscious pull toward his own wholeness. According to Jung, this pull is often too intense, too frightening to be faced directly. The Anima figure, when fully awakened and embodied by a real person, represents a force of nature that can either lead a man toward his highest potential or expose the most profound inadequacies of his ego. The man who is not ready to face his own internal chaos, his shadow, will instinctively recoil from this powerful feminine energy. He cannot approach you not because he doesn't want to, but because doing so would mean stepping into a psychological crucible that he is not yet prepared to endure. His silence is a retreat, a self-protective gesture against the immense transformative potential he senses you carry. He thinks of you as a distant luminous star, a source of light he can admire from afar, but fears approaching, lest its radiance expose the darkness within him. The psychological distance he maintains is a form of self-preservation. It is a way for his psyche to interact with the archetype you represent, without having to confront the reality of a relationship with you. A relationship that would demand profound change, growth, and the dismantling of his current ego structure. You, in his mind, are not a partner. You are a temple, a sacred space that he feels unworthy to enter. He thinks of you because his psyche is beckoning him towards a path of individuation, a path where he must integrate his own feminine aspects to become a whole man. His inability to reach out is a sign that he has not yet gathered the courage to begin this journey. Therefore, his thoughts of you are not a sign of his desire for you as a person, but rather a reflection of the internal dialogue his soul is having with itself. The pain you feel from his absence is, in this light, not a testament to his rejection of you, but a testament to his rejection of his own deeper truth. He is thinking of you because you have become a mirror, and he is afraid to look at his own reflection. The silence is not a void. It is the immense unspoken presence of a spiritual and psychological chasm that he is not yet ready to cross. To grasp this concept is to face a unique and often isolating kind of discomfort. When you begin to see his silence not as a rejection of your person, but as a symbolic retreat from your power, the world around you may not understand. Friends and family, operating on a conventional understanding of relationships, might offer platitudes about his fear of commitment or his general immaturity, all of which miss the deeper, more spiritual dimension of the dynamic. This can create a sense of profound loneliness, as if you are the only one who sees the truth behind the curtain. The anguish of being misunderstood and the struggle to articulate a reality that feels more mythological than mundane can be overwhelming, pushing you to question your own intuition and sanity. This is the psychological moment of meeting your own shadow, the part of you that craves conventional validation and resents the profound, solitary nature of this truth. The ego wants to be seen, wanted, and chosen in a traditional sense, and the soul is being called to a higher, more autonomous path. The conflict between these two forces can manifest as deep anxiety and a sense of not belonging, not just in a romantic context, but in the world at large. This is precisely where the Jungian concept of the individuation process becomes relevant. This is not just a breakup. This is a spiritual initiation. The struggle to hold this new perspective requires an immense amount of faith in your own inner knowing, especially when external evidence seems to contradict it. His continued presence in your thoughts, despite his absence in your life, is the internal battleground where you learn to differentiate between a healthy, conscious connection and a symbolic one that exists to teach you something about yourself. It is a time for immense compassion for your own suffering. The emotional turmoil is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are moving through a profound internal shift. You are navigating a journey that moves beyond the simple, he loves me not paradigm, and into a space of sacred psychological work. The anguish and the doubt are natural byproducts of this transition. It is the ego's last gasp, its final attempt to keep you tethered to an old, familiar story of external dependency. But with each moment of discomfort, with each tear, you are breaking free from that cocoon. You are becoming something new. The pain you feel is not for his absence, but for the dissolution of a false identity that was predicated on being chosen by another. The reason he cannot move toward you is directly tied to the psychological defenses of his ego. The ego, in Jungian terms, is the center of consciousness, responsible for our sense of identity and self-perception. It is fundamentally averse to anything that threatens its established order. You, in your current state, represent a direct challenge to his ego structure. Your wholeness implies that his validation is not a necessary component of your happiness. This realization is so jarring to his subconscious that the ego mounts a powerful defense mechanism: avoidance. He avoids you not because he dislikes you, but because engaging with you on a real, adult level would force him to confront the aspects of his own self that are incomplete and require immense work. This avoidance is not a simple choice. It is a deeply ingrained psychological reflex. Think of it as a subconscious fight or flight response where he perceives your presence as a threat to his current state of being. The thought of engaging with you stirs up a deep, unsettling feeling because it brings to light his own emotional immaturity and his fear of true intimacy. He may think of you wistfully, but this is a safe, distant form of interaction. It allows him to engage with the idea of you, the Anima archetype, without having to face the profound demands that the reality of you would place on him. His thoughts are therefore a way of keeping you in a state of suspended animation in his mind, a safe fantasy that he controls. His silence in this context is a loud declaration of his psychological state. It is a sign that he is operating from a place of fear and not from a place of love. He is choosing the comfort of the known, his solitary, unintegrated self, over the discomfort of the unknown, which is the possibility of a shared life with a truly whole person. This is not a judgment on his character, but a simple, profound truth about the human psyche's resistance to change. The tragedy of his position is that his very thoughts of you are a constant reminder of the growth he is avoiding. You become, in his internal landscape, a ghost of a future he is too afraid to live. He is trapped in a cycle of thinking about what he could have, while simultaneously building walls to prevent him from getting it. This internal conflict is what manifests as his absence and what keeps him from moving forward. His thoughts of you are not a bridge, they are a psychological barrier. Your own journey through this begins with a fundamental shift in perception. The moment you stop interpreting his silence as a sign of your lack and start seeing it as a sign of his internal resistance, a profound sense of peace begins to emerge. This is not a cognitive exercise alone. It is a full-bodied spiritual experience. The anxiety you once felt about his absence begins to dissipate because the narrative has changed from "I am not enough for him" to "he is not ready for me." This shift is incredibly empowering as it removes you from the role of the victim and places you squarely in the center of your own life story. This newfound clarity allows you to reclaim the energy you have been expending on him. Instead of wondering what he's doing or thinking, you start to focus on your own growth and well-being. This is the stage where you begin to build your own inner world, your own cocoon. You stop looking for external validation and start nurturing your own interests, passions, and relationships with others who are on a similar path. The emotional space that was once occupied by longing is now filled with self-discovery and a deep, fulfilling sense of purpose. This shift is a form of spiritual alchemy. The pain of his absence, which once felt like a wound, becomes the very thing that propels you toward a deeper understanding of yourself. The quiet moments you once spent in anguish are now moments of profound introspection and self-connection. You realize that the love and security you were seeking from him were always within you, waiting to be discovered. The beauty of this transformation is that it makes you genuinely unavailable for anyone who operates from a place of fear. You no longer attract or are attracted to people who are not ready to engage with you on a conscious, adult level. Your energy field, once open to the uncommitted, now radiates a sense of wholeness that only those on a similar path can truly understand and appreciate. Your journey has made you discerning, not cynical. It is crucial to understand that this journey is not without its pain. The dissolution of the old narrative is a grieving process. You are letting go of the hope, the dreams, and the comfort of a love story that was never meant to be. This is a difficult and necessary rite of passage. The anguish you feel is a sign that you are doing the hard, sacred work of letting go of a fantasy and embracing a profound truth. This pain is not for him. It is for the version of you that needed him to be whole. Carl Jung would refer to this as the encounter with the shadow. The shadow is not just the dark, hidden parts of ourselves, but also the unconscious parts that we have yet to integrate. In this case, The shadow is the part of you that still believes you are incomplete without external validation. The pain you feel is the light of awareness shining on this shadow, forcing it to the surface so that it can be healed and integrated. It is an uncomfortable but essential part of the process of becoming whole. The quiet suffering of this phase is, in fact, a source of immense power. It is in this solitude, in this quiet contemplation, that you forge a relationship with your own soul. The tears you cry are not a sign of weakness, but a cleansing of the old self. They are a testament to your courage and your resilience. You are not running from the pain. You are sitting with it, understanding its message, and allowing it to transform you. You are no longer a person waiting for someone to come and save you. You are a person who is engaged in the difficult and beautiful work of saving herself. This is not a passive process. It is an active one. Each moment of stillness, each moment of introspection, each moment of quiet endurance is a step further on your path to self-sovereignty. The anguish becomes a spiritual practice, a form of inner work that is far more valuable than any relationship you could have had with him. The moment of profound shift arrives when you cease to see his thoughts as a validation of your worth and begin to see them as a mirror reflecting his own unreadiness. This is not a moment of anger or resentment. It is a moment of liberation. You understand, on a deep cellular level, that his inability to reach out is an act of unconscious deference to the power you have become, a power he is not yet equipped to handle. This understanding frees you from the cycle of waiting and wondering. The focus shifts entirely from his actions to your own internal world, from waiting for him to build a temple for you to building your own. This is the dawn of true self-sufficiency. The need for external validation, for his text message or his phone call, begins to wither away. The energy you once poured into analyzing his silence is now redirected inward, into nourishing your own spirit, into pursuing your own passions, and into strengthening your own sense of self. You no longer need his presence to feel whole because you have found the source of your completeness within. This is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about becoming sovereign. The woman who has been through this process emerges not just stronger, but profoundly changed. She is no longer defined by who chose her, but by who she has become. She understands that her worth is not a function of anyone else's perception, but an inherent truth of her being. She becomes, as the archetype suggests, a formidable and radiant force. The old vulnerabilities and insecurities, once so prominent, have been replaced by a quiet, unwavering confidence that requires no external confirmation. This transformation results in a kind of spiritual and psychological magnetism that is both powerful and, to the uninitiated, intimidating. She is no longer just a woman to be pursued. She is a universe unto herself. She becomes whole, and therefore, formidable. Do you see the distinction now? Do you feel the weight of this truth settling in your soul? This isn't just a story about a man who won't call. It's a profound narrative about your own awakening. It's a journey from seeking a place in someone else's life to creating an entire world within yourself. It's an invitation to stop waiting and start living. If this message resonates with you, if you see your own reflection in these words, please consider sharing this video with others who might be on a similar path. Your comments below are not just a space for feedback. They are a space for connection, for creating a community of individuals who are all on this path of deep psychological awakening. We are building a sanctuary where the profound and often lonely work of self-discovery can be shared and understood. Subscribe to this channel to join us on this journey. Each week, we dive into the deeper truths behind our human experience, offering a different lens to view the struggles and triumphs of life. By subscribing, you are not just getting more content, you are committing to a path of radical self-honesty and growth. Remember this, you are not alone in this feeling. You are not flawed for the pain you carry, and your struggle is not a sign of your weakness. You are simply shedding an old skin, letting go of a narrative that no longer serves you. You are on the precipice of a profound transformation. You are not waiting, you are awakening.